Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us for the second part of our story. Let's jump right back in. We've been together for 8 months now, and things are good, not perfect. I still wake up some nights haunted by old fears. I still flinch when I hear certain words. But Anna's presence has become a steady beat in my life. Like a heartbeat I can finally hear again. My family, that's a different story. I haven't seen them, talked to them, or heard anything in years, except for Cindy. My sister somehow found a way to message me last year. She'd made a fake email and messaged me from the library, saying sorry for everything, and telling me how much she missed me. We've been slowly rebuilding something since then. She's still living at home, still under their control, but she finds ways to talk to me when she can. She told me how they watched her phone, checked her social media, even took away her laptop when she tried to reach out the first time. Just like that, I almost lost her too. I didn't think things could get stranger until a few days ago. I was walking home from work when I got a voice message, Cindy's voice shaking a little. "Jake, I need to tell you something." "Sarah," she confessed. She told Mom and Dad everything. That she lied. That she made it up. She said the guilt had been killing her. I stopped dead on the sidewalk. My stomach dropped like I'd been punched. "She told them weeks ago," Cindy continued. "They didn't tell anyone. Didn't even call you. I only found out because I overheard them talking about it. Jake, they're not even planning to say sorry." I sat on the curb, cars rushing past me, the city buzzing around my numb body. "And now," Cindy said, her voice bitter, "they want me to see how you feel about making up." The week before the meeting felt like walking on broken glass. Even when I was with Anna, I wasn't really there. My mind kept wandering, playing out every possible version of the meeting. The one where they cried, the one where they yelled, the one where they denied everything again. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work. I felt like I was waiting for a hit without knowing where it would come from. Anna tried her best to keep me grounded. "You don't owe them anything," she said one night, her hand on mine as we sat on the couch. "But if hearing them out helps you close a door or open one, that's your choice." She even acted out conversations with me, pretending to be my mom, my dad, Sarah, even a coffee person who got the order wrong in the middle of a fight. We laughed a couple of times. It helped a little, but the nerves never really went away. When the day finally came, I dressed simply. Dark jeans, black sweater, no logos, nothing that would take away from the message I was trying to send. I am here, but I am not the same. The cafe Cindy helped me pick was small, quiet, hidden away on the edge of my old neighborhood. I got there 20 minutes early, ordered a black coffee I barely touched, chose a table near the exit with my back to the wall. Old habits. I kept checking the time, my legs bouncing under the table, heart pounding like it was trying to escape. At exactly 3 p.m. they walked in. My mother looked smaller than I remembered. Her hair was grayer, pulled back too tight, like she was trying to hold herself together. My father had a slump I didn't remember. His eyes darted around the cafe like he was entering enemy territory. And yet, I felt nothing. No sudden anger, no longing, just a cold distance. Like I was watching actors in a play I already knew. My mom's eyes locked on me, and she broke instantly. Tears welled up as she covered her mouth. "Oh, Jake," she whispered. My dad just stood there, looking at me like I was a stranger he was forced to talk to, which in a way I was. I didn't move, didn't smile, didn't stand. I just lifted one hand and pointed to the seats across from me. "Have a seat." They sat. My mom was already reaching for tissues. My dad sat stiffly, arms crossed, mouth tight. Typical. The silence hung between us like fog. Cleared my throat. My voice came out steady, more than I expected. "Before we start, I want to be clear about something." They both looked at me, still and waiting. "I'm here because I want to hear what you have to say, but I haven't decided anything. I'm not here to forgive. I'm not here to make things right. Not yet. Maybe not ever. This is a conversation, not a making up." My mom nodded, dabbing at her eyes. "We understand," she said. My father gave a quick nod, jaw tight. "Fair enough." I looked at them for a moment, feeling the weight of those words. For once, they weren't arguing, weren't making excuses, at least not yet. They looked tired. Not just physically, but deep down. I realized then that maybe the years had worn them down too. Not in the same way they had worn me down, but worn all the same. And whether it was guilt or sadness or fear that brought them here today, I wasn't going to let that change things. They were the ones who had to speak, to explain, to try. I had made it this far without them. I leaned back slightly, arms crossed, voice cool. "Okay. I'm listening." My mom spoke first. Her voice trembled, and she didn't look me in the eye. "Jake, I'm so sorry. We were overwhelmed. We were scared. When Sarah came to us and the police got involved, it felt like the world fell out from under us." She paused, holding a tissue like it was the only thing keeping her together. "We didn't know what to believe. And she sniffled. We reacted out of fear. Fear and shame. Not love. not trust. I see that now. My dad sat beside her, stiff as ever, but he nodded. It's true. We made a terrible mistake. A goddamn awful mistake. And we've had to live with that every single day. He looked at me then, not right in the eyes, but close. I should have stood by you. We both should have. Instead, we let ourselves be swayed by what people might think, what Sarah said. And we lost you. I stayed silent, letting them talk. But every word, every excuse, cracked open something inside me I tried hard to close up. Memories came rushing back. The look of disgust on their faces when I sat handcuffed at the police station. Their refusal to look at me. The cold, final way my mom said, "You can't come home, Jake, not now." It took everything in me not to stand up and leave. Instead, I leaned forward, voice low and shaking with effort. "Why didn't you believe me?" My mom's tears started again, but I didn't soften. I had carried that question like a sickness inside me for 5 years. I needed the answer even if it hurt. My dad spoke first this time. We were afraid of being the parents of someone who hurt his own girlfriend. You don't understand the pressure we felt from the church, from our friends. Everyone was talking, whispering, judging. My mom jumped in like trying to take some of the blame. "Sarah was so convincing, Jake. She was crying, begging us to believe her, and you were always so private. We thought maybe we'd missed something in you. That hurt more than anything." "You thought you raised a son who could do that to someone?" I asked, barely keeping my voice steady. They both went quiet. Every excuse felt like another slap. I wasn't angry, I was beyond that. What I felt was worse. I felt nothing. Just this dull, deep ache that no apology could touch. "So I was left alone," I said, voice flat. "Completely alone. I had to sleep on Tom's couch for weeks because I was too ashamed to tell him I had nowhere else to go. I dropped out of university because I couldn't walk those halls knowing what people believed about me." They both looked horrified, and I didn't stop. "I lost my friends, my future. I lost myself. I spent nights wondering if I was crazy. If somehow I had done something wrong and didn't realize it. I started questioning my own memories. Do you know how insane that feels?" My mom had her face in her hands by now, sobbing quietly. My dad just sat there, hands clasped tight. "I built myself back up from nothing," I said, my voice steady now, every word sharp. "I rebuilt my life without you. Every important moment you missed, my graduation, my first job, my first promotion. I faced them without a word from either of you." The silence that followed was thick, suffocating. I watched their faces, saw the realization sink in, not just of what they'd done, but of everything they'd missed, everything they'd willingly given up. Then my mom finally spoke, voice small and broken. "What's your life like now?" They were desperate. I saw it, hungry for scraps of a life they'd abandoned. Like I was a mistake they could now somehow fix. I gave them the basics. "I live in the city. I have a good job. That's all you need to know." I didn't mention Anna. Didn't tell them about my apartment or the neighborhood or even what kind of work I did. They didn't deserve that. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I needed them to understand this wasn't the start of a new relationship. This wasn't us going back to normal. They had to earn their way into any part of my life, and I wasn't even sure I wanted to give them that chance. I looked them both in the eye then, voice calm and firm. "I'm not ready to let you back in." I saw the pain in their faces, the heartbreak, but I didn't flinch. Not this time, not after everything, not that much, if at all. It's been a few months since that day in the cafe, since I sat across from the people who brought me into this world and told them calmly, clearly, that they had broken something in me that I wasn't sure could ever be fixed. In the weeks that followed, I kept expecting a change, some inner feeling that would say, "Okay, now you can start healing with them." But that moment never came. Instead, I found myself drifting further away from the idea of making up. Anna noticed it too. She never pushed, but she'd ask gentle questions now and then when I stared too long out the window or got lost in my thoughts at dinner. "Do you feel like you got what you needed from that meeting?" she asked one night as we lay in bed, her hand lightly on my chest. I stared up at the ceiling. "I got honesty. I got tears. I got regrets," I said. "But what I didn't get was understanding or trust. Not the kind I needed." Anna was quiet for a moment. Then she whispered, "That makes sense." My therapist, a kind woman named Denise with sharp eyes and a warm voice, helped me peel back the layers of the pain. Session after session, we unpacked my anger, my guilt for even feeling angry, my urge to make excuses for people who should have known better. "I think part of you still wants to protect them," she said once gently. Even now, she was right. I did. Some small part of me still wanted to believe they were just lost, just misled, but another part, stronger now, knew that wasn't enough. That being misled doesn't excuse turning your back on your child, especially when that child is begging you to believe him. During one session, I finally said it out loud. The sentence I'd never allowed myself to say, Not even to Anna. They didn't trust me, I whispered. They didn't believe in who I was. Not even a little, not even enough to hesitate. It hung in the air, heavy and awful. Denise leaned forward slightly. How does it feel to finally say that? Like I've admitted the worst part, I said. It wasn't the accusations or Sarah or the police. It was that my own parents looked at me and saw someone capable of doing something monstrous, and they didn't even give me the benefit of the doubt. I had to pause. My throat tightened, and my vision blurred. When the world turned on me, they were supposed to be my safe place, and instead they became another courtroom, one where I was guilty until proven innocent. I sat with that truth for a long time, and eventually I knew that meeting at the cafe, no matter how many tears they shed or apologies they made, couldn't undo the fact that when everything fell apart, they weren't there. Their apology, while it sounded sincere, didn't address the main issue, their fundamental lack of trust in me, when I needed them most. Therapy has been a light in the dark. At first, I walked into those sessions stiff as a board, arms crossed, mind guarded. But over time, the walls began to crack, not from force, but from gentleness. From finally being in a place where no one questioned what I went through, no one looked at me with suspicion, no one asked me to just move on. One afternoon, after I finished telling the cafe scene for the third time, Denise leaned in a little and said, "Jake, forgiveness and making up aren't the same thing." I looked at her. "Aren't they, though? Doesn't one lead to the other?" "They can," she said. "But they don't have to. You can forgive someone for your own peace without ever letting them back into your life." That sat with me like a warm stone, heavy but grounding. I thought about it for days. Later that week, she asked me something that really hit home. "Do you think your parents' apology was about truly seeing your pain, or about making themselves feel better?" I didn't answer right away, but I knew. They cried. They apologized. But the words, "We were wrong to doubt you," never actually left their mouths. They kept talking about how scared they were, how hard it was for them, how guilty they feel now. The math never added up to real responsibility. I started writing in a journal more, something Denise encouraged, and with every entry, things became clearer. One night, curled up on the couch with Anna, I said quietly, "Even before all of this, I don't think they ever really loved me without conditions." She looked up from her tea, her eyebrows gently coming together. "They were always proud of the perfect version of me," I said. "The honor roll student, the polite kid. But the second I messed up, or in this case was accused of messing up, it was like their love had an off switch." Anna reached over and held my hand. "That's a really painful thing to realize, but it makes so much sense, Jake. I'm sorry." That conversation was the final push I needed. I sat down the next morning and wrote the letter. It wasn't angry. It wasn't mean, but it was honest, brutally so. I told them I appreciated the apology, but that it didn't change the fact that the damage was done, that I had built a life, one I was proud of, without them, and I wasn't going to risk my hard-earned peace to make room for people who had once left me for dead, metaphorically speaking. I explained that what truly broke me wasn't just their decision to cut ties. It was that it took Sarah's confession before they even considered that I might have been innocent, that I, their son, was never given the benefit of the doubt. That trust, not just love, was the foundation that crumbled. And that was something no apology could quickly fix. I mailed the letter, and for the first time in years, I felt not exactly free, but lighter, like I'd finally put down a weight I didn't realize I was still carrying. A few days later, I got the voicemail. I recognized the number before it even rang fully. My thumb hovered over the screen, unsure if I should answer, but I let it go to voicemail. I wasn't ready. Later that night, with Anna beside me, I listened to it. My mother's voice broke through the speaker, thick with tears. "Jake, please don't shut us out completely. I know we failed you. I know. God, I miss you every single day. I miss your voice, your laugh, your stories. I replay every moment over and over, wondering what we could have done differently." She broke into a sob, took a moment to breathe, and continued, "I want to make things right. My dad sent an email, short, cold, the kind of message that felt more like a duty than anything else. He said he understood my decision, but that he was disappointed in it. Not hurt, not sad, just disappointed. As if I had failed him somehow. As if this whole thing was about my inability to let go rather than their inability to stand by their son." I stared at the email for a long time, reading it over and over until Anna gently took my laptop off my lap and set it aside. "You okay?" she asked softly. "I should be," I said. "But somehow it still stings." Anna moved closer and wrapped her arms around me. "He didn't even try to understand. He just wanted to make you feel guilty. That's not on you." Her voice, so steady, so warm, kept me grounded when I felt myself slipping into old patterns of self-doubt. The difference between my parents' responses only confirmed that I'd made the right choice. Mom's voicemail came from a place of desperation. Dad's email came from a place of pride. Neither of them truly acknowledged the depth of what they'd done, but Cindy did. She called me a few days after I sent the letter. I read it, she said. They showed me. I tensed. Yeah, she said immediately. I'm proud of you. It was honest. It was powerful. You didn't owe them anything more than that. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. I wish I'd been stronger back then, Jake, she added, her voice cracking. I wish I'd fought harder for you. You were a kid, Cindy, I said. We both were. Still, she whispered. I'm so sorry. We ended up talking for over 2 hours that night, not just about the past, but the present, our jobs, the shows we were watching, even the stupid inside jokes we used to have. We've been talking regularly since then. Video chats, voice notes, even memes. It's been nice. Like I've got a little piece of my family that wasn't lost in the wreckage. She mentioned she's thinking about moving to my city for grad school next year. I could use a fresh start, she said. I'd love that, I replied, genuinely smiling. We could actually hang out in person for once. There was something healing in that. Reclaiming a bond that wasn't built on judgment or conditions, but care, mutual respect. Meanwhile, Anna and I took a big step. We moved in together. Felt natural. We'd already spent so many nights at each other's places. Sharing routines, morning coffees, late-night talks. Making it official was more a celebration than a change. Still, living together had its funny moments. She sings loudly in the shower, I leave dishes in the sink too long. She folds towels a certain way, and apparently, I commit crimes against linens. We bickered a little at first, but mostly we laughed because underneath it all we felt lucky, grateful to be doing life together. One evening, as we were lying on the couch, her head on my chest, I said, It feels weird to say it, but I don't think I'd have gotten through all this without you. Anna looked up at me. You did the work, Jake. I was just here cheering you on. You were here, I said. That's what mattered. Work's been surprisingly steady too. I got promoted to lead developer on a new project. The pace is intense, but honestly, it's a welcome distraction. Being able to focus on something I'm good at, something that challenges me and gives me purpose, has helped me stay grounded. But the biggest shift came when I started volunteering. There's this local organization that supports people who've been falsely accused. Everything from legal help to support groups. At first, I wasn't sure I could do it. I worried it would bring back bad memories, but it's been the opposite. Sitting in a room with people who get it, who've lived through similar pain, is comforting in a way that's hard to explain. I've shared my story a few times now, and every time someone comes up to me afterward and says thank you, that it helped more than they know, it's been healing not just for them, but for me too. As for Sarah, I heard from Cindy that she moved away. Apparently, she started seeing a therapist. I hope that's true. I really do. I hope she gets the help she needs. But that doesn't mean I want anything to do with her. Forgiveness might be possible one day. Maybe. But making up? No. Her lies shattered my world. Cost me years of my life. She used my family's doubts against me, and I will never put myself in that position again. I'm learning to let go of the anger. Not for her, for me. And now I'm working on something even harder. I'm working on learning to trust again. It's a slow process. Trust, healing. But I'm making progress every day. There are still moments, quiet ones, where the old doubts creep in, but they don't stay like they used to. I'm proud of how far I've come, and even though I move cautiously, I'm optimistic in a way I haven't felt in years. The peace and stability I've found in this new chapter of my life is real, solid, and I've learned to hold on to it with both hands. Thank you all for your support through this journey. Your advice, your encouragement, your kindness. This meant more to me than you could possibly know. I'll update again if anything big happens, but for now, I'm just living. And that's a beautiful thing. It's hard to believe it's been a year since that last update. So much has changed, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can look back on everything with clarity, without bitterness clouding the view. First, the big news. Anna and I are engaged. I still get a little flutter in my chest when I say that out loud. It happened during a weekend trip to the mountains. Just the two of us. No distractions, no work emails, no ghosts of the past. We hiked to this beautiful overlook we'd visited once before, early in our relationship, the kind of place that makes everything feel smaller and more manageable. The sky was streaked with orange and lavender as the sun began to set. My hands were shaking when I reached into my jacket pocket. Anna, I said, but my voice cracked. I laughed nervously and tried again. Anna, hang on. She looked at me, eyes wide, already tearing up. Oh my God, Jake. I dropped to one knee, and of course, in my infinite grace, the ring nearly slipped out of my fingers, but before I could even finish the question, she said, yes, 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 1,000 times yes, she whispered, kneeling down to kiss me, both of us laughing and crying. Crying and forgetting all the carefully practiced words I'd prepared. We're planning a small wedding for next spring. Something simple, meaningful, surrounded by people who chose to stand by us, not just people bound by blood. Feels surreal to be here, honestly. To have come from the depths of betrayal, grief, and isolation to this, to planning a life with someone who knows every jagged corner of my past and still chooses me. Anna has been my rock. She's seen me at my lowest, broken, withdrawn, empty, and never once wavered. Not once. She held space for me to grieve, to rage, to question everything. And somehow, even in the darkest moments, she reminded me there was still light to be found. Planning our future together isn't just exciting. It's healing. It's rebuilding what I thought was lost forever. And then there's the topic of my parents. Things have settled, not in the way some might hope, but in a way that feels right for me. I've kept them at arm's length. They still try now and then, usually through Cindy. A birthday message, a holiday card, once a link to some article my dad thought I'd find interesting. But I've asked Cindy not to pass much along. Just enough to know they're alive and still trying in their way to maintain a sliver of connection. But I don't respond, and I don't feel guilty for that. I'm protecting something now, something I've worked hard to build. My peace, my sense of self, the stability I earned after clawing my way out of the mess their choices created. It's not a perfect solution. I know that, but it's the one that lets me sleep at night. As for Cindy, she really did it. She moved to my city just like she said she would. She got into her top choice for grad school and started this new chapter with the same kind of determination I've always admired in her. Having her here has been a blessing. We get dinner at least once a week, sometimes more if we're both free. She'll show up at our place with takeout and stories from her classes, or we'll sit on my balcony drinking wine and talking about everything and nothing. She's even become close with Anna, watching them laugh together over something ridiculous or gang up on me over my obsession with overly complicated coffee brewing methods. It's comforting. Feels like I have a family again. Not the one I was born into, but one that chose to be here. And honestly, that fills some of the void left by what I lost. Work continues to go well. I've been promoted again, this time to team lead. Yeah, my team. That still feels wild to say out loud. Some days, the responsibility feels like a weight I wasn't sure I could carry. But most days, it's invigorating. I get to shape the direction of our projects, mentor newer developers, and actually see the impact of my decisions. It's stressful, sure, but it's good stress. The kind that pushes me to grow, not the kind that drowns me like before. I think back sometimes to how close I came to losing everything, my job, my sanity, hell, even my sense of self. To stand here now, not just surviving, but thriving, feels like reclaiming something that was stolen from me. And I'm still volunteering with the support group for victims of false accusations. That's been one of the most grounding parts of my life. These people, some younger, some older, they walk in hollowed out just like I once was. I see the fear in their eyes, the shame they shouldn't carry, and I recognize it immediately. A few weeks ago, I did something I wasn't sure I'd ever have the strength to do. I shared my story publicly at one of our events. I remember standing there, palms sweating, index cards trembling in my hand. I looked up and saw faces, dozens of them watching me, waiting. I used to think no one would ever believe me, I said, my voice shaking. And for a while, no one did. I lost friends. I almost lost my job. I lost my sense of who I was. There were nods, quiet, solemn understanding. But I didn't lose everything. And neither will you. The applause afterward caught me off guard. Some people cried. A few came up to hug me. One older man, maybe in his 60s, told me, "I wish I had your courage 30 years ago." That night, Anna pulled me into a long, silent hug when I got home. "I'm proud of you," she whispered, her voice thick. So proud. She'd said those words often over the past few years, but that time it landed differently, deeper. A month ago, I got a letter in the mail. The return address was familiar. My parents. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. Part of me wanted to toss it unopened, but curiosity won. Inside, they wrote that they'd been going to family therapy, trying to understand their patterns, as they put it. They said they were sorry, not in a perfect way, but I could tell it was honest. They asked if I'd be willing to join them for a session. Just one. I read the letter 3 times. The emotions came in layers. Disbelief, anger, then this strange sadness, because deep down, I wished it hadn't come to this. Later that evening, I sat on the couch with Anna, letter in hand. "They want me to go to therapy with them," I said. She looked at me carefully. "How do you feel about that?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to believe they've changed, but I'm not ready to sit in a room with them like it didn't take me years to put myself back together." "Then don't," she said gently. "You don't owe them that. Not yet. Maybe not ever." So I wrote back. I told them I was glad they were working on themselves, and I meant it. I told them I hoped they continued for their own growth. But I also said I wasn't ready to be part of that process, that I had my own healing to do, and dragging myself back into that dynamic right now would only undo the progress I'd made. Maybe someday, but not now. Anna and I have started talking about building a family of our own. It's still a distant idea, more of a shared dream than a plan. But it's there, floating between us in the quiet moments, like when we're walking the dog or making Sunday morning pancakes. It excites me. It also terrifies me. I worry I'll repeat their mistakes. I confessed to Anna one night as we lay in bed, fingers intertwined in the dark. "You won't," she said immediately. "You don't know that." "No," she agreed. "But I know you. And the fact that you're worried about it, that you're thinking about what kind of parent you'd be, that's what makes the difference." We fell quiet after that, but her words stayed with me. Therapy's been a huge help. I still go weekly. My therapist has helped me untangle so much of the anxiety and mistrust I'd built up over the years. I used to expect betrayal around every corner. Now I can breathe through those moments, recognize them for what they are, echoes of the past, not predictions of the future. I've learned to open up again, to believe in people not blindly, but cautiously with intention. Looking back, I still feel the weight of what happened. Some days heavier than others. But I've built something beautiful out of the wreckage. To anyone out there reading this, someone who's been where I was, just know it does get better. Takes time, sometimes more than you think you can bear. And it's never a straight line, but it is possible. You can come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more grounded in who you are. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. Seek help when you need it. And don't be afraid to walk away from what hurts you, even if they're family. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.